The Browns come up short in the preseason finale against the Chiefs. There was a lot of good things in that game that I liked, but ultimately we all leave the preseason with a sour taste in our mouth because, surprise, surprise, number 3 struck again. Cade York missed 43-yard field goal, an opportunity to really silence all the questions or at least put a muzzle on them. But now we go into the regular season with a lot of fear that if the Browns need a clutch kick, well, we've seen it before in the preseason. We're going to break down this game with some winners, some losers, some injury news and notes, but the final 33-32, and I kind of want to start by going to the beginning of the game and then working our way backwards because sure, it's a bummer that the Browns blew a 22-3 lead, but the good news is Kellen Mond's not going to play in the second half of the regular season. So you don't have to be too stressed about the Browns blowing leads because the first-string offense and defense would have played the whole game here today. Not saying they aren't capable of doing it in the regular season, but there is that level of, well, it was the backups who blew the game. The good news is the backups aren't going to play, fingers crossed, much at all in the regular season. Now, before we get to the injury news and the winners and losers, if you are coming across our channel for the first time, really quickly, make sure to subscribe because we're closing in on 22,000 subs, and I don't want you to miss out on one of the fastest-growing Browns YouTube channels out there. Now, as for the injuries coming out of this game here, I might have missed a player or two, but these are some of the bigger name items. Jakeem Grant got carted off. It sucks after the opening kickoff. Looked like a very serious knee injury. We are recording this right after the game, so if Stefanski provided an update, we'll include that in the pinned comment, but I don't want to speculate, but it didn't look good. That's the short response. Jordan Kunaszyk suffered a knee injury in the first half. He did not return. Jordan Elliott suffered a hip injury. He might have been able to come back, but the second-string defense was in, so they really didn't need to push it. Tony Fields, he left the game briefly along with Siaki Ika, and they both were able to return. So the big injury news coming out of it is Jakeem Grant, who, of course, tore his Achilles last year in August, and here he is making his return. And on the first time he touches the ball of the preseason, or first play of this game at least, he suffers what appears to be a very serious knee injury. Now, before we get into my winners and losers, I don't think this game provided a lot of clarity for our roster bubble heroes, right? The Austin Watkins and the Ronnie Hickmans of the world. Neither one of those two guys really flashed all that much. But of the bubble players, who do you think made their case today to cement themselves on the 53-man roster? For me, if Anthony Schwartz could have been healthy, it would be an interesting conversation if Jakeem Grant is lost for an extended period of time just because of the speed element. But Schwartz was out of the hammy. I think David Bell is making this roster still. I maintain that stance. But let me know who you think that roster bubble lock is in your eyes. Now let's get into my winners and losers, starting with my first winner. It's Jim Schwartz. I have loved what I've seen out of this Browns defense. Today they had 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, 7 quarterback hits. His defense so far, his defense, meaning the starters and even some of the second stringers, have been flying across the field. They've all been making great plays. We saw a Juan Thornhill pick 6. That was awesome to see. Rodney McLeod got an interception. Caleb Biggers got a pick 6. Every single player, it looks like, was making a play at some point. Jim Schwartz, his defense definitely looks way ahead of where they were back in West Virginia in July. So Jim Schwartz, and really just the entire defense, the starters, the backups, I have a bone to pick with. Were great today. Big-time winner. The first loser I've got, I hate to do this to Jordan Wilkins, but unfortunately for him, he had an incredible opportunity, and that was run with the first-team offense and show the Browns, I can be this RB3. I can be this RB2 potentially if Jerome Ford misses time. And what did Jordan Wilkins do? He fumbled it twice, he lost one, and then he got benched for John Kelly. And so if you're Jordan Wilkins, you had a great chance to try and show this coaching staff, I'm the guy. And they kind of thought you were the guy, at least the best of the bunch, best of the rest, because you got to go with the first-team offense with no Nick Chubb and no Jerome Ford, and Wilkins kind of squandered it. So I wonder if we're going to see Cleveland add a running back, right? Whether that's from the waiver wire or whether they go, we've kind of tried this for a month. It hasn't worked. Let's go sign Kareem Hunt. Let's go sign Leonard Fournette, right? Let's go sign a proven back, because we're done pussyfooting around a little bit and trying to discover if Hassan Hall or John Kelly's ever going to emerge. It didn't happen in 4 preseason games. Third person on my winners and losers list is Deshaun Watson. Watson looked, I would say, pretty good in this game. Was he perfect? No. He had that one kind of alligator arm throw to Elijah Moore, but he had a great pass to kind of open up the game to DPJ, another great ball to Amari Cooper, and then he had the touchdown pass to David Njoku. All in all, he played, 3-4 series? They had the punt, they had the fumble, the 3 and out, and then 2 touchdowns, so 4 series. 5 for 10, 92 yards, 1 touchdown. I liked what I saw out of Deshaun Watson. A lot of very positive, encouraging things. The defense has probably looked a little bit more concrete than the offense so far, but I'm not going into the season with much fear at all, to be honest with you. My confidence level on Watson out of 10 is at like an 8.3. So Watson, in my eyes, he looked the part. If I told you before the game he goes 5 for 10 for 92 yards and a touchdown, you're probably pretty happy with that. So I was encouraged from what I saw out of Deshaun Watson and the starting offense in this game, which, by the way, with Nick Chubb, they don't fumble on the first series, right? It's a very different dynamic with Joel Bitonio and Nick Chubb out on the field. Second loser, the second string offensive line. It felt like they all were playing rock, paper, scissors in the huddle to see who wanted to get blown off the football and end the play on their back. Whether it was like Luke Whippler or Nick Harris, it was just roulette of who wants to get blown off the ball and have Demetric Felton or John Kelly get tackled in the backfield. I'm not quite sure where this just came from, because Callahan is one of the best offensive line coaches in football, but I think this was probably the worst game for the second string offensive line. DTR always felt like he was under duress. Was not his best performance, but he did not get a lot of help. So the second string offensive line, hopefully we never have to call their name again, but they were a loser in my eyes coming out of this game. Third and final winner is David Njoku. There's a lot of directions you can go with when it comes to winners and losers coming out of this game, but I want to give some airtime to the Chief, because he has quietly been putting together a lot of really good practices in training camp. And I just think that he's flying under the radar a little bit because of all the stars on this offense now with Watson, Chubb, Cooper, and all the eyeballs on Elijah Moore. When quietly Njoku has been open all preseason and training camp long, he has made every catch, and he is poised for, I think, the best season of his NFL career. So Njoku with a great touchdown reception, a beautiful throw from Deshaun Watson. He's a winner in my eyes. But we do end the show with this conversation. And I didn't want to spend the whole show talking about Cade York, because what's the point? I say that from the lens of Andrew Berry hopped on the broadcast and said, we have extreme confidence or whatever in Cade York. They're not moving on from Cade York. Whether you agree or disagree, that's the fact. Cade York is going to be this team's week 1 kicker. Now, the Browns might get, bit in the ass by this and learn their lesson the hard way and not try and correct their mistakes from the preseason by getting a new kicker. But ultimately, Andrew Berry does not want to move on from another draft pick last year after already moving on from 2 draft picks before the 2023 season even gets started, right? I don't know if it's a pride thing or what it is, but Andrew Berry continues to stick by Cade York. Kevin Stefanski continues to go into these post-game press conferences and is asked about why why Cade York is still on the team, and oh no. Denzel Ward is in concussion protocol. Just tweeted out 1 minute ago. Oh. Denzel Ward is in concussion protocol. You gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. Okay. He's got 15 days until week 1. Hopefully he can be ready to go by then. But we'll end the video kind of on that injury news. Denzel Ward is in concussion protocol, so he joins the other players we had listed earlier. We're getting this in real time, but Denzel Ward in concussion protocol. Oh, boy. So, to kind of summarize what we talked about today, we have our winners and losers. Cade York is going to be this team's week 1 kicker, and Denzel Ward is in concussion protocol. And that is kind of the big ticketed items coming out of this 33-32 loss. Mr. Chipper, do you want to pick a card to wrap up the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you want to go with?
I'm going to go with a Jack of Hearts.
Hopefully Denzel Ward is okay. Spam your 21s. You want to go Jack of Hearts?
Jack of Hearts.
I feel like it just deflated the hell out of my Saturday. Okay, I'm going to go with the 4 diamonds. King of Spades. King of Spades. That will do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will catch up with you guys on tomorrow.